Do you ever get that feeling, that fear that maybe your decision to put money into physical precious metals, silver, gold, precious metal mining stocks, that fear that maybe that was a foolish decision? That are we living in an echo chamber? You're here with me right now in Ron's basement. You're watching this video because you love gold, silver, precious metal mining stocks. But are we in an echo chamber, right? Where we're just talking amongst ourselves. When we go outside of our little bubble, does everybody else laugh at us? Are we making a foolish decision? Let's take a look at a couple things in this video together. Number one, especially if you're in the West, in the United States in particular, why is it that we are such a minority of the population? Like maybe we're like 1 in 200. We are an exclusive club, my friend, right? Not many people are enthusiasts about silver and gold in the United States in particular. And why is that? I'm going to tell you there's a really good reason why that we're going to talk about. And finally, let's take a look at the big picture and see if, outside of the United States, when we look at the world in general, what is it telling us about the value of silver and gold? Let's take a hard look at ourselves, and let's do that right now. So what do you think regarding silver and gold? Are we wrong or are we right? It's okay to be wrong. I remember several times in the mid-'80s when I was wrong about things. No, we're wrong every single day. At least I am. I mean, even recently, Susie, my wonderful wife, many of you know her. She does the editing on a lot of the videos. We were having some trouble with the clips going in the wrong way, and I knew that she was screwing something up. I went to explain it to her. Some people call that mansplaining in probably my normal, maybe a little bit rude, authoritarian way. And when I sat down and looked what she was doing, I was actually wrong. It's okay to be wrong. But when it comes to silver and gold, we don't want to be wrong. And I think that we're right. But back to the story at hand, why are we so alone, especially in the United States? Well, think about this. In 1930, almost 100 years ago, President Roosevelt made it illegal for United States citizens to own gold. So we had a whole 40-plus year swath when it was absolutely illegal to own gold as an investment, as a store of value for individual citizens in this country. And think about it. Who do we learn from? We learn from our parents and our grandparents. Here's a great example. This clock belonged to my grandpa. I was pretty close to him. He lived to be like 90 years old. He read the Wall Street Journal every single day. He had a good life. He saved a lot of money. He was a smart guy, okay? He never once, and we talked about economics and finance and the problems of the world, oftentimes never once mentioned to me the benefits of owning precious metals, because during most of his life, I think he was born in 1920, it was illegal, right? So if the people who are meant to teach us, our parents and our grandparents, they knew nothing really or had no ability to benefit from precious metals, it's no wonder so few people realize the benefits of owning precious metals, especially in the United States of America. But then in 1971, right around the same time that people were allowed to invest in metals again, or shortly there before, President Nixon temporarily took the United States off the gold standard. And I always go back to this. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well, but the US dollar at that point was basically divorced from gold and silver, okay? And what happens in a divorce? When you it's like when you sell a stock, you're not rooting for it anymore, right? You sell it because you think it's not good and it's going to go down. It's like when a couple gets divorced, they're typically not very fond of each other. So when the dollar was divorced from gold, and we've heard proof that this was the case, it was in the best interests of the Federal Reserve and the United States of American government to kind of poo-poo on gold. And that's been the case for the last 50 years. So it's no wonder that so few people, especially in the United States of America, actually like silver and gold and actually understand the benefits of holding precious metals as a store of value. We, yes, you, there is only one you and me, will navigate these choppy waters together. I really appreciate you deciding to give me some of your precious time right now. It is an honor. I hope you feel like you found a little bit of a home away from home. Please know that you're always welcome to come back to Ron's Basement from wherever in the world you are. You can subscribe right here, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below. But what do you see when you take a step even further back and look at even the bigger picture of what's going on in the world? We know in the United States of America, there's a growing number of individual states attempting to reclaim their right to use gold and silver as money and take a step away from the overlords of the federal government and the Federal Reserve. We know that trend's going on. We know when we look at China and Russia and the BRICS countries and Africa and Latin America, they're all moving more and more towards gold and silver. And we know that central banks around the world are net buyers of gold over the last number of years. Heck, last year was the biggest amount of gold purchased by central banks since 1967. And in 1967, most of the world was on the gold standard. So doesn't it feel like the movement, like when you get scared and think maybe this is just a pet rock, maybe it is just a... Well, if that's the case, why are all those things going on? That gives me some solace. I don't know how it makes you feel, but why would these central banks be buying all this gold? Why could I take gold or silver anywhere in the world and it still represent value, right? People want it. If that, weren't the case, I might really be afraid, like, oh, it's just nothing. But no, the trend on a big picture is actually going in the other direction. So when we get scared, or at least for me when I get scared, you can tell me how you feel about this. I need to look at what the reasons behind why Americans in particular aren't so fond of gold and silver yet, but that is growing, and take an even further step back and look at what's really going on in the world right now. And I can feel relatively comfortable with my decision to place, a portion of my family's wealth into precious metals. And for me, the mining stocks as well. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. I want you to know you're always welcome in Ron's Basement. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.